People don't get defensive for no reason. They get defensive when they feel like they're losing control of something. I'll explain exactly what that something is in a minute. Because if you've noticed this shift, the moment you stopped reacting, the moment you became calmer, quieter, more contained, suddenly people started acting strange around you, more irritated, more emotional, more defensive. And you thought, did I do something wrong? No, you just stopped being easy to control. The truth, actually, your old reactions were predictable, and predictable people are comfortable to deal with. People knew how to trigger you, how to read you, how to win against you. And without realizing it, they start relying on that version of you to feel stable in the interaction. So when you remove that pattern, even slightly, it doesn't just feel different to them, it feels disruptive. Before, your reactions created a rhythm. If they pushed, you responded. If they questioned you, you explained. If they misunderstood you, you corrected them. There was a flow they could follow. But now, that rhythm is gone. You pause. You let things sit. You don't rush to fix misunderstandings. And that creates something most people are deeply uncomfortable with: space. Because in that space, they don't know what you're thinking anymore. And when people don't know what you're thinking, they start thinking for you. They start filling in the blanks with their own assumptions, their own insecurities, their own projections. What is she thinking? Why isn't she responding? Did I say something wrong? Does she disagree? And instead of sitting with those questions, they try to resolve them quickly. Not by asking calmly, but by pushing you to react. That's when the defensiveness starts to show. Not because they're being attacked, but because they feel unsettled. Your calmness removes the feedback they were used to receiving. And without that feedback, they can't measure where they stand with you anymore. The truth, actually, when people lose the ability to read you, they often interpret it as losing control of the interaction. And when people feel like they're losing control, they don't become calm. They become reactive. You'll notice it in small ways. They interrupt more, they repeat themselves, they try to get a stronger response out of you. They might even say things that are slightly more provocative than usual, just to see if they can break your composure. Not always consciously, but consistently. Because if they can get you to react the way you used to, everything feels normal again. The dynamic resets. The uncertainty disappears. Something else happens. Your calmness starts to create contrast. Their emotions feel louder next to your stillness. Their urgency feels heavier next to your patience. And even if they don't say it out loud, they feel exposed in that contrast. It's like your presence is holding up a mirror they didn't agree to look into. The truth, actually, calmness, when it's real, is confrontational without trying to be. It doesn't attack, it doesn't argue, it doesn't prove. It simply exists. And in doing that, it reveals everything around it more clearly. So when someone is used to operating in emotional intensity, your calmness doesn't feel peaceful to them. It feels like pressure. And most people don't respond well to pressure they didn't choose. They try to release it, sometimes by questioning you, sometimes by challenging you, sometimes by labeling you. You've changed. You're being distant. You're acting different. But those labels are not accurate descriptions of you. They're attempts to make sense of a shift they don't understand. Because what really changed is not your personality. It's your availability. Before, your emotions were accessible. Your thoughts were immediate. Your reactions were easy to reach. Now, there's a layer between what you feel and what you show. You think before you respond. You choose what deserves your energy. You don't engage with everything. And that layer feels like distance to people who are used to having direct access. The truth, actually, when access to you changes, people who benefited from that access feel it immediately. Not always consciously, but emotionally. And instead of recognizing it as a shift in you, They experience it as a loss in themselves, a loss of control, a loss of clarity, a loss of influence. And loss, even when it's subtle, often shows up as defensiveness. This is why the same behavior that now feels calm and controlled to you can feel cold and confusing to someone else. Not because calmness is negative, but because it disrupts what they were used to. It removes the shortcuts they relied on to navigate you, and without those shortcuts, they have to actually sit in the interaction, without control, without certainty, without immediate answers. Some people will adjust to that. They'll slow down, they'll meet your pace, they'll respect the space you've created and learn how to exist in it without needing to fill it. But others won't. They'll keep pushing, keep testing, keep trying to bring you back into the version of you that felt easier for them to handle. Because the moment you realize that your calmness is not pushing people away, it's revealing who is comfortable with the version of you they could control. Everything changes. And once everything changes, you don't go back.